Every morning is a blank page. The very first thing you write on it will shape your entire day. The problem is, most people don't hold the pen themselves. They hand it over to the world. They wake up, grab their phones, and let news, comparisons, pressure, and outside noise seep into their minds. From that moment on, they're no longer living their own story. They're following someone else's script. Before the world tells you who you are, you must remind yourself. If not, the noise will drown out your inner voice, and your whole day will turn into a chain of reactions. A careless thought, the moment you wake up, today is going to be exhausting, can become a self-fulfilling prophecy that weighs you down. But a bold declaration like, I am capable of handling whatever comes my way, instantly shifts your energy and steers the day in a completely different direction. The mind is like freshly tilled soil. The first seed planted takes the deepest root. Sow doubt, and you'll stumble into traps. Sow gratitude, and you'll witness miracles. That's why the words you speak to yourself in the morning are not just random phrases, they are the seeds that shape your reality. The world will always try to label you. Success, failure, winner, loser. If you don't define yourself, you'll be defined by others. The morning moment is your starting line, the chance to set your direction. It's not just about a few motivational words. It's about drawing the line between living intentionally and living on autopilot, between leading your day and being swept away by it. Picture yourself standing before a blank page. You can let others write words that make you feel small, or you can write an affirmation that makes your whole day powerful. Do you want to begin with I'm not good enough, or with I'm growing stronger every single day? The choice has always been yours. You don't need the world to believe it. You only need yourself to believe. Because one morning declaration has the power to shift the entire trajectory of your day. It's like a compass, small, yet strong enough to guide your path. Before doubt speaks, let your dreams speak. Before chaos arrives, plant a clear command in your mind. The morning is the opening chapter of your story. If that opening is written with conviction and belief, the rest of the day will follow the path you've chosen. Your greatest power does not lie in what the world says about you, but in what you say to yourself the moment you open your eyes. That voice will lead you throughout the day. And once you learn to begin with that voice, you won't just master today, you'll begin to master your entire life. The past is not a life sentence. It's only the old pages of a book still being written. Mistakes, regrets, and missed opportunities may be etched into those pages, but they do not dictate the chapters ahead. Every morning you wake up, you hold the chance to write a new one, to cast a vote for the person you choose to become today, not the person your past has convinced you to be. Too many people remain trapped in the blurred mirrors of yesterday. They see themselves only through the lens of past failures, hear the echoes of outdated labels, and assume they are still the broken version from years ago. But the truth is, you are not who you were 5 years ago, or even 5 minutes ago. Every decision is a new turning point, and your future is not shaped by what you did wrong, but by what you choose to do next. Breaking free from the past does not mean denying it. You don't have to pretend the pain never happened. What matters is refusing to let it control your present. The past can hand you lessons, but you don't have to carry its weight. Wisdom is knowing what growth to keep and what suffering to release. When you declare to yourself, I am no longer who I was, I am who I choose to become, you cut the invisible rope that ties you to what no longer serves your growth. You affirm that your identity does not live in your mistakes, but in your vision. Each morning, imagine yourself as a door opening into a new reality. No one else has the right to decide who you will be, not family, not friends, not society. And no past has the power to lock the door of today. Others may doubt you. Your own memories may resist you. But if you stay consistent, life will shift in your favor. Because a human being is not defined by what they have endured, but by what they dare to choose in the present. Don't let the past trap you in endless circles. You weren't born to repeat history, you were born to rewrite it, and the pen has always been in your hands. The first step to freedom is realizing you don't need anyone's permission to become your new self. No one can limit your growth but you. Remember, growth is not an act of rebellion against your past, but a declaration of your present. It doesn't say the old days never existed. It says you've chosen a new path. You've chosen to move forward. Every morning, you can rewrite your definition of who you are. No longer a failure, no longer a victim, but a learner, a grower, a person reshaping their life. And as you repeat that belief each day, you'll begin to see yourself truly change. Because thoughts lead to actions, actions form habits, and habits create identity. Let your morning declaration become your daily commitment. I am not who I was. I am who I am choosing to become. That's more than a statement. It's how you reclaim your identity, reclaim your direction, and ultimately reclaim your destiny. Chasing is an act of fear. Attracting is the power of identity. When you chase someone, something, or an opportunity, you are declaring that you are lacking, that what you desire lives outside of you and is almost out of reach. Chasing always carries anxiety, pressure, and the constant urge to prove yourself. But when you live from your true identity, when you raise your standards, discipline, and energy, you no longer have to beg or pursue. You become a magnet, and what aligns with you will find its way to you at the right time. This doesn't mean sitting back and waiting. On the contrary, it means actively building the best version of yourself, consistent in action, patient in results. When you shift the way you think, live and choose, you send out a new signal. That signal is your field of energy that determines who you meet, what spaces you enter, and which opportunities you attract. And when your frequency changes, what no longer fits will fall away, making space for what truly belongs to you. Chasing always makes you smaller. It sends the hidden message that you're not enough, that you need validation. The more you chase, the more you lose value in your own eyes and unconsciously in the eyes of others too. But living from identity makes you steady. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone because your presence and energy already speak louder than words. You know your worth, and that grounded certainty creates irresistible attraction. Look at those who are truly successful. They aren't running around begging for attention or hunting down opportunities. Instead, they focus on sharpening themselves, raising their standards, and as a result, the right opportunities find them. The difference is that they operate not from lack, but from wholeness. They don't need to prove they are worthy. They already know it, and the world cannot help but recognize it. Attracting requires both faith and patience. You won't always see results overnight, but every day you live fully from your new identity, you are building an unshakable gravitational pull. You'll notice you no longer cling to half-hearted relationships, nor force yourself through doors never meant for you. You begin to walk forward with certainty, knowing that what belongs to you will never pass you by. Living from identity also means raising your standards. You stop settling for mediocrity. You learn to be disciplined in your thoughts, in your words, in your actions, and in the environments you choose. Every aligned decision is another brick laid in the foundation of the person you are becoming. And when that foundation is strong enough, the world will recognize you through the change itself. There will be moments when this feels hard, because chasing often brings instant gratification, even if it's shallow or short-lived. Attraction takes time, but it is in that waiting that you are forged. Patience shapes you into someone capable of holding and honoring what you attract. No delay is wasted. Every pause is growth, preparing you for the right thing at the right time. Each morning, remind yourself, I don't chase. I attract through the identity I am building. When you live this way, you are no longer someone begging for scraps of validation. You become the architect, the one holding the energy that draws the right things to you. And when that happens, you don't just gain what you've desired, you keep your dignity, your self-respect, and the deep peace within. No one was born to remain just a spectator in their own life. You weren't created to sit and wait for a script to be handed to you or to perform according to someone else's expectations. Every morning, the pen is already in your hands. If you don't use it to write, the world will write for you, assigning roles, attaching labels, and leading you to live a story that was never yours to begin with. The truth is, most people live in waiting, waiting for a signal, waiting for approval, waiting until they feel ready. But that waiting only robs them of authorship. Life is not defined by what you're given, but by what you dare to write. Look back. How many times have you stood on the sidelines, watching instead of acting? How many times have you known exactly what you wanted, yet paused until someone else approved? In each of those moments, you placed yourself in the role of a spectator. And spectators never control the ending. Only authors decide the direction of the story. Writing your own life does not mean erasing mistakes or crafting a flawless script. In fact, mistakes are proof that you're alive, that your story has depth. But an author always has the power to shift the plot at any moment. One chapter does not define the entire book. One failure does not define your whole life. What matters is whether you dare to pick up the pen and keep writing. And to write a story worth living, you must protect what is sacred: your time, your energy, and your peace. These are the three assets that cannot be replaced yet. They are easily stolen if you don't guard them. Time is currency. Every day you spend it, you're investing in something. The question is, are you investing it wisely? Energy is fuel. When it's depleted, even the greatest opportunity feels like a burden. Peace is the foundation. Without it, every outward success becomes an empty shell. Protecting these things is not selfish, it's wisdom. A person who says no when necessary isn't difficult, they're discerning. A person who chooses silence and distance from chaos isn't detached, they're preserving their inner strength. The boundaries you set are not walls of isolation, but gates that safeguard your core values. And when you honor those values, the world learns to honor them too. Maybe you once thought you had to be everywhere to say yes to everyone, to prove your worth. But the truth is you owe your presence to no one. You were not born to be an endless resource for others to consume. You were born to live a life with focus, with purpose, and with clearly defined limits. Every morning, when you place your pen on the page of a new day, ask yourself, where will I invest my time today? What will I dedicate my energy to? How will I preserve my peace? These questions are your compass, because if you don't define them, someone else will. If you don't protect them, the world will drain them for you. Remember, the pen is still in your hand. You are not a side character in your own movie. You are the author, the director, the one who decides every frame. And when you dare to live this way, you don't just create a life worth living, you create a legacy that makes others stop and reflect. Motivation can get you started, but discipline is what carries you to the finish line. Inspiration might ignite for a few hours or days, but it's consistency that creates lasting results. The truth is, success doesn't belong to the most excited person, it belongs to the most disciplined. Because emotions change by the day, but discipline turns actions into habits, and habits shape destiny. Discipline is the language of those who dare to turn promises into actions. It doesn't care whether you feel motivated today, whether your mood is good or bad. Discipline only asks, did you show up? Did you do what needed to be done? That quiet, repeated consistency is what creates the difference. Others may call it obsession, but in reality, it's resilience, the resilience to never let laziness or fear take control. Consistency is discipline multiplied. A right action, repeated long enough, transforms the extraordinary into the ordinary. Every day you show up unseen, unrecognized, you are silently laying a foundation. Like water dripping on stone, not because of strength, but because of persistence. And one day, results explode. What looks like luck to others is simply the outcome of thousands of steady steps before it. There will be mornings when you don't want to get up, days when you want to quit. But that is precisely the moment when discipline must speak louder than emotion. Because if you only act when you feel inspired, you'll remain trapped in inconsistency. But if you act even when you're tired, even when no one cheers you on, you prove you live by commitment, not by fleeting moods. Discipline doesn't kill freedom. Discipline creates freedom. When you train yourself in the right direction daily, you are no longer a slave to bad habits, no longer dragged down by procrastination. You become the driver of your own life, and that is the highest form of freedom, freedom over your time, your energy, and your results. Consistency is the superpower the world often underestimates. People love to showcase quick wins and instant bursts, but the ones who repeat a small, right action every day are the ones who change the game. They don't need fireworks to prove themselves. They only need steady steps, so that after a year, 5 years, 10 years, they've walked far beyond those who always start but never sustain. Don't wait for inspiration to begin. Let discipline set the rhythm. Don't chase what's easy, chase what's consistent, because everything great is built from small actions repeated in silence. And every extraordinary person is simply an ordinary one, consistent long enough with a single path. Every morning, remind yourself, discipline is my language. Consistency is my superpower. When these two align, you no longer need luck. You already know success will come because you're planting it daily. And once discipline becomes your identity and consistency becomes your breath, nothing is out of reach. You are already enough in this very moment, but that doesn't mean you stop growing. Your worth is not measured by achievements or external validation. You don't need to prove you are deserving because you already are. And precisely because you honor your own potential, you choose to evolve. Evolution does not come from lack, it comes from gratitude for what you already have and the desire to become an even better version of yourself. Many people confuse the desire for growth with rejecting who they are now. They fear that wanting more means they don't accept themselves. But the truth is the opposite. Only those who love themselves, who respect their own journey, can patiently train, stay disciplined, and expand their limits. Growth is not denial, it is celebration. It's saying to yourself, I love who I am today, but I know I can be even more. When you believe you are enough, you are no longer haunted by comparison. You don't need to prove that you are smarter, more beautiful, or more successful than anyone else. You stop chasing external approval and begin focusing on inner vision. In that moment, you stop running after illusions of validation and start walking toward the call of true growth. Listening to your inner voice is the most important step because the world will always be noisy, filled with opinions and expectations. If you let yourself be controlled by that noise, you will lose direction and doubt your own worth. But when you sit in stillness and listen within, you realize one clear truth: you have always been enough. And from that place of fullness, you are free to go further. Being enough is not complacency, it is balance. Knowing you already stand on solid ground while still expanding into your untapped potential. Complacency makes you stop. Being enough gives you the safety to move forward. You grow not from a pit of emptiness, but from a foundation of wholeness. And it is that inner security that makes your journey sustainable. Every morning when you look in the mirror, allow yourself to feel both gratitude and aspiration. Gratitude for what you already have, for the scars that made you stronger, for the challenges that shaped you, and at the same time, a burning desire to stretch beyond your limits and explore new horizons. This is not a contradiction, it is harmony. Those who live in enoughness are not swayed by comparison or shaken by criticism. They know the inner voice is their compass, while the outer noise is only a test of resilience. Once you trust that inner truth, you stop being easily moved. You stand steady amid praise and blame because neither defines you. Remind yourself each morning, I am enough, and I choose to evolve. That is not a contradiction. It is the strongest declaration of responsibility to your own life. You don't change out of fear. You change because you know you are worthy of becoming more. And with that mindset, your journey of growth becomes an act of honor, not an act of escape. Pressure is not meant to break you, it's meant to forge you. Every time life weighs heavily on your shoulders, you face two choices: collapse in resentment or rise with greater strength. The very moments you think you cannot endure are often the ones that reveal your true power. Steel is not forged in comfort, but in fire. Humans are the same. Resilience doesn't come from ease, but from challenges that force you to grow. Uncertainty is humanity's constant fear. We crave clear plans, secure paths, and safe destinations. But if everything is familiar, you remain trapped in the same loop. It is uncertainty that opens the door to creativity, to possibilities you never imagined. Instead of seeing uncertainty as a frightening void, see it as a blank canvas waiting to be painted. Every step you take in the fog is an opportunity to uncover dormant potential. You don't need all the answers, you just need the courage to take the first step. Rejection is not failure, it's redirection. A closed door does not mean the journey ends, it means that path wasn't yours. Every no you encounter is moving you closer to the right yes. Yet most people see rejection as humiliation and give up too soon. They don't realize that every setback is guidance, pushing them toward a more fitting path. If you remain patient and keep moving, you will see that what truly belongs to you will never be lost. When pressure, uncertainty, and rejection collide, it may feel like you've hit rock bottom. But in truth, that's the perfect environment for rebirth. Pressure builds strength. Uncertainty breeds courage. Rejection teaches faith. These three, rather than enemies, are allies. Without them, you would remain stuck in your comfort zone, never reaching the higher version of yourself. Remember, every great achievement passes through moments of darkness. Those who leave lasting impact didn't avoid pressure, they let it shape them instead of break them. They didn't fear uncertainty, they saw it as the testing ground of faith. They didn't despair in rejection, they trusted that the right doors open at the right time. Each morning, remind yourself, I am forged by pressure, expanded by uncertainty, and guided by rejection. When you see these three forces not as burdens but as fuel for growth, fear loses its grip. Instead, you welcome them as your strictest teachers, your most loyal coaches. Pressure makes you stronger. Uncertainty keeps you humble and creative. Rejection reminds you that what is not meant for you is simply clearing space for what is. And when you truly understand this, you'll walk through hardship not with resentment, but with gratitude. You are not falling behind. You are exactly where you need to be at the exact time you need to be there, preparing for what's to come. Comparing your path to someone else's only makes you forget a simple truth. Each person has their own rhythm, their own process, their own timeline perfectly designed for their growth. What you see as delay is often quiet preparation beneath the surface. A bamboo tree spends years growing roots before shooting up skyward in just a few months. Your life is the same. Every pause is the foundation for a breakthrough. Patience is not postponement, it's strength. It reminds you that every step, no matter how small, is moving you closer to your destination. When you believe you are in the right place, you stop rushing, you stop comparing, and you stop fearing someone else's milestones. Instead, you focus fully on your own path, and that focus creates real momentum. Living as your future self is not about waiting until someday to feel worthy. It's the decision to embody who you want to be starting today. If you want confidence, walk with confidence even while you're trembling. If you want success, live with the habits of the successful even before anyone notices. Your future self is not a distant dream, it is a reality waiting for you to step into it. Every action you take today is a declaration to your future. When you speak with self-respect, act with responsibility, and remain consistent with what you believe in, you pull your future closer. Transformation is never a single moment. It's the accumulation of thousands of small choices. Thousands of times you decide to live as the new version instead of slipping back into the old. The right time is not when circumstances align perfectly. It's when you decide to act as if you are ready. You don't need permission. You don't need a sign. The power lies in each step you take. Every day you live as your future identity, you carve the path for it to become real. Living as your future self also means refusing to let fear take the lead. You don't wait until the anxiety disappears before acting. You act even while fear lingers. That's not pretending, it's training. Over time, the fear fades and confidence becomes who you are. Every morning, look in the mirror and remind yourself, today I walk as the person I've always prayed to become. That sentence is not fantasy, it is transformation. Because when you live as if, the world reflects it back to you. And each day, the gap between who you are and who you long to be dissolves, leaving one unified self, the stronger, wiser, fuller version you chose to become. When you understand that you are already on time, and when you act as if the future has already arrived, you don't just live in hope, you turn hope into reality. And from that moment on, every morning is no longer waiting, it is becoming. You're no longer chasing the future, you are living it.